I would like to say that we are live, however, seems like my screen has frozen. Alrighty, this is an interesting thing. Alrighty, well, it does seem like we are potentially live and you guys can hear me. So I don't know if the issue is on my end and if you guys are managing to see some of the shots and some of the animals. But I think my computer has decided not to work right now, which generally happens, you know, when we have to deal with cameras and technology and things like the internet all around the world. So for now, we're just going to look at this very fat lion cubs with their very round bellies. I do know that Max, our text genius, is busy sorting it out. But, oh, so sorry, I've been so rude. I actually haven't even introduced myself. So if you're wondering what the voice behind the screen is, well, it's Ali today. And I'm very happy to be doing one of these shows because I haven't been on the Africam show for a while. I was actually chatting with Aiden before the start of the show, and I think the last few ones I did maybe was around the beginning of the year, which feels like it was a very long time ago, but also yesterday. So nonetheless, even if the screen does not want to work, we have some people that have sent their hellos. So please remember, or if this is the first time that you're tuning in, we promise this doesn't happen every time. The screen doesn't always get frozen in what you're seeing now. And we generally, what we do in the Africam show, which is powered by Explore, is to just have a look at all the cameras that are set, or all the remotes or camera traps that are set in different destinations across Africa, and then we chat about what we can see. Because sometimes we can see really cool stuff live, so who knows, maybe today will be our day. But if you want to send any comments or questions, or if you're just joining in, or if you watch all the time, please, I'd much rather have a conversation with other people than doing a 1-hour monologue. Oh, alrighty, seems like we're on it. And what a way to start. So the camera that we're looking at the moment, just because we had a bit of a late start, is the one in Aldonyo, which is in Kenya. And we have an East African oryx and, of course, a Maasai giraffe, which is quite interesting, very pretty antelope. But seeing the antelope and the giraffe are pretty still, I'm going to go through some of the hellos that some of you have sent, because I don't want to be rude. And you guys just make my day a little bit brighter just by commenting. So Dia NC, you say good morning from a rainy Seattle. I'm ready in the show with my coffee and a smile. That's amazing. That's actually a really good way to start the morning, is with coffee and a smile. And I must say though, as long as I've got my coffee, there's a very good chance that I will have a smile in the mornings too. I'm not going to lie about that. Rolling Trouble, you're saying hello to everyone from Washington. And Andy, you're saying, good afternoon, everyone. Ready to be blown away? Oh, seatbelt is fastened. We're going at a high speed. Bring on the hurricane. Ah, that's probably why. Ali, catch me if I fly by, please. We will do our best. Hopefully, nobody's going to be flying anywhere, just the birds in our camera. But for everyone that is affected by the hurricane, just hope everybody is safe and hope things will go smoothly and that we don't really have to worry or catch anyone as they fly away. Oh, look at all those giraffes that are walking in. Saigut, you're saying hello, so hello back to you. Bridget McKinney, you're saying hello. Amber Co, hello and a happy Tuesday to all. You're saying thank you for being here and sharing your knowledge with us. Always a really good time as I sip my coffee. Thank you, that's very kind. We always, and I mean, we commented often, but it's so amazing to just, look at this giraffe. It's a very light-headed giraffe, maybe an older male. It's always very interesting to watch these cameras from different parts of the world, because also we don't get to see these places all the time. And a lot of the times, either very strange creatures appear or animals do funny things. So it's great because it actually, us as naturalists or guides as well, it pushes our knowledge bases. So we are always learning something, which I think is fantastic. If you want to get very philosophical, I have a friend that she always says that, she even got a tattoo on her arm, says that what drives her in life is the lifelong learning. So as long as you're learning something, it doesn't have to be something major. You don't have to get a degree every day. But as long as you're learning something, she says that is her secret to happiness. So how's that? Maybe we'll learn all about giraffes today. So it's funny, with the reflection of the sunlight, if you see in the middle of giraffe, it almost seems like whenever the giraffe drinks, the water's going down. But it's actually just, they don't drink that much or that quickly. So it's just a visual effect. April Owl, you're saying hello from sunny Connecticut, sitting with your cup of coffee and vanilla soy milk. Oh, that sounds interesting. I'm sure that must be quite nice. It's almost like a cappuccino kind of thing. Kauru, you say hi, Ali. Oh, sorry for this one. Gert NL, sorry for butchering your name. You're saying good day, Ali, and greeting from Holland. Tea time. All right. And then, I don't know if we've met before, but I've got Mr. HUAE87. Oh, that's a lot of letters there. You're saying hello. And then Trace B-Sub, hello everybody. I'm ready for my favorite show. Woohoo! We're very happy that you're ready for your favorite show and that this is your favorite show. And Bob from Kalamazoo, you're saying good day, Ellie. Well, hello. Good day to you, Bob. And it's funny, every time I read your name, I just think of Trishala saying, Bob from Kalamazoo, because she says it very funny. I think she really enjoys your name. This is, if we're looking at the screen, this is a very interesting angle. I actually don't think I've been at a low angle watching a giraffe drink. So this is, I suppose it's the other way that we look at it. It's very funny. I think it's a very nice sighting, and of course we've had, it seems like a mixed herd that's been coming in. So we've had the one on the right is clearly a male, then we've got a couple of females. I think the one that is drinking right now in the front there is also a female. The one on the other side is a female, and I think the one on the left is also a female. So giraffes are one of those species that, what can I say, they have been understudied, largely understudied, or maybe just gone under the radar for quite a long time. Because we actually, for a long time, we thought that just like we were seeing them at the water hole, they just sort of like get together, hang out with one another, and then they go and then they do their separate things and go their separate ways. So they were always defined as having loose social aggregations, but there was a 9-year-long study that came out, I think it was last year or the year before, that was done in Tarangire, and then they studied exclusively giraffes. And it was found that they actually have a very intricate and complex matriarchal society. How's that? That is pretty amazing. And then they're able to recognize individuals, and the part that was incredibly interesting to me was that when it comes to giraffes, so when it comes to the dispersal, so generally it's the males, the ones that will disperse from a certain area in a lot of species, so that they can take their genes into a different gene pool or onto other giraffes that they're not related, so just to make sure that they maintain genetic diversity. What was really interesting with the study was that a lot of the times the dispersal for the giraffes, particularly the male, wasn't necessarily geographical. So by this I mean the male giraffes weren't really going too far. They weren't really going too far from the place that they were born into, but their dispersal was actually a social dispersal. So they stopped associating, while still obviously knowing who their mother and their relatives were, but they would just stop associating with the females and the group that they've been born into, and then they would just associate with different giraffes, and this is where the dispersal came from. I hope that just makes sense, because it was mind-blowing. It's very much like humans. We don't geographically move. We stay in the same place, but we just start associating with other people as we get older. So that was pretty interesting. Sorry, let me just, we've got some more hellos here. I just got very excited because I think everybody should know this about giraffes. I find it so mind-boggling. We don't really see them, and because they're not really that vocal, or because I suppose they're so big, we just kind of don't really pay attention to this kind of things. But there's lots of really interesting studies coming out on giraffes nowadays. Glenda Newman-Kraft, you're saying good morning from Indiana. Lovely to see you. Ellie Wendy, you say hello from north of Seattle. You're in Vancouver Island, Canada. What a wonderful thing to see on a rainy day with my morning coffee and a giraffe. That is actually a very nice thing to say. And I must say, and I don't mean this to make anyone jealous, but this morning I did have my morning coffee with giraffes all around me. So that was quite funny. It was a group of them, actually. I'm not too sure why they were so interested in coming around, but they were, oh, hello, Mr. Elephant. But they were around, so it does happen. Please, Lisa, I'm glad the old Doña Pan looks full at the moment. That's nice. So many animals look terribly disappointed. Oh, so it's emptied out. It does happen. a lot of the times with this, because this is not a natural water hole, that sometimes either the pump gets broken or elephants tend to rip up pipes or break pumps. This can also happen. They are a lot of the times guilty of doing these things. And then the water just, or humans, they also turn off the pump and then there's just no trickling in water. So the water levels obviously go down. Zygote, you said that we had a tower of giraffes. Yes, we did. We had an entire tower of giraffes that was around, and then we've actually had so many things. And then you can tell it's the dry season and everybody's walking far away to get to the water holes. And then if you look just around the water hole, look how there's very little grass anywhere there, and then as you start going back and away, then you start seeing this. Of course, some of the constant coming and going, and I'm sure if we were to take like an aerial view of the water hole, so just imagine the circle that the water hole is in, view it from above, we would see so many almost like little veins coming onto the water hole. Hello, boy. Are you a well-known elephant? I think it's nice because the elephants tend to come often onto the same water holes, and then this one's got like this very interesting neck in the right tusk. So easy way to identify him. Looks to be a fairly mature bull. Oh, hello zebras! Clearly Odonia is the place to be. I'm wondering what is happening. Okay, I am getting a very interesting update from Aiden about one of the other cameras. So maybe let's just go and have a look. Sorry Kenya, you've been great, but let's see if another place can top it up. I'm really interesting about this interesting bird gray parrot thingy. In case you guys were wondering, this is the update that I got. It looks like like maybe a gray go away bird. Oh, there we go. Ooh, and now we've got a lilac-breasted roller that joined the party. Listen, I don't think these guys are too far from where I am. It's so interesting seeing the weather difference. It is somewhat overcast where I am because I'm based in Hoedspruit, but this is definitely looking much gloomier than where I am and definitely far windier. And that's probably why these two birds are sitting together like that. It's not uncommon for all sorts of different species of birds just to hang out together. Sometimes they just need a place to land and hold on to, basically. Especially when it's very windy. I think the gray go away. I'm not sure. Looks like they're on a bush willow tree, so I'm not sure if it's just eating something or if it's even maybe, I don't want to say nesting, but it seems like it's sitting down there all quietly and all happily. That wind is howling everywhere. The exciting thing is, I'm talking about the lilac-breasted rollers. So the lilac-breasted roller is the bird on the top, as you may know. There's a species of migratory bird called the European roller, which is very similar to this one, but doesn't have the lilac. It's just blue in coloration. I mean, where the lilac is supposed to be. And I actually thought I saw one today, and I think I got a fright and then maybe nearly pulled off the road because I was like, no, it's too early. Because they are a migratory bird species. Oh, this one migrated somewhere else as well. I just want to check if I'm live, guys, because I can see all things happening in the chat, so you guys can just ignore me if I'm still live, but if I am not, I'm going to have to type it. So the European rollers are a species of roller that just sort of comes, or not sort of, they come every year in the summertime because they feed mostly off of insects, and then they tend to displace the lilac-breasted roller. So wherever we see the lilac-breasted roller sitting, then generally the Europeans, because they're slightly bigger and grumpier, then they just tend to push them away. But this year has been very strange weather down in southern Africa. We've had a lot of rain, and I suspect we're going to have a lot of animals nesting and breeding much sooner rather than later. I've started seeing some of the weavers already starting to morph into their breeding coloration that they generally get in the summer. And I mean, technically speaking, we are a couple of days away from spring. So this is a bit tad early in the year. So I believe there is a question from Amber Co. You say, here's my new learning for today about the workings of giraffe society. Oh yeah, I'm so happy that was new for you. The 9-year study results are very interesting. I always thought giraffes were randomly fluid. Well, going back to the giraffes, I think we all thought so. That was the general understanding of giraffes. But then, thanks to this, I mean, 9 years, it's a long commitment to study giraffes. It just showed all sorts of things. I mean, that was just one of the results that came out. There were other things involved, but like had a whole dispersal in terms of social association was just amazing. And the fact also, matriarchal societies, the knowledge gets passed on and so on, and it's got huge implications because especially with giraffe relocations, if they are bonds and family bonds, you can't just pick and choose a giraffe at random and be like, oh, this one I'm going to take to repopulate a place here, and then this one I'm going to take here. It's actually got to make a little bit more sense than that. So I'm glad that was new for you. I think our gray go-away bird is a little bit cold and pretty much telling us to go away. I actually don't have a good pun for that. So I think maybe let's head back to Aldania, where animals seem a little bit friendlier than what they were before. This zebra seems to have a very short mane. What happened? The one that just walked away. You compare it to all of the other ones on the left, the one that just walked out of the screen definitely didn't have a mane. That was interesting. So Bridget McKinney, you said you love them both. I think you're probably referring to the birds. And Kari, you say, whoa, both. I think also referring to the birds. And Zygote, one of the most colorful birds, referring to the lilac-breasted roller. I want that zebra that's walking away to come back, because it seemed it didn't have a mane, and I want to see if I saw that right, and then if not, then I want to know why I made that up. But sometimes what could happen, and I mean, it could be the case of this one, what happens with the zebra society is that the males will steal, generally speaking, the fillies from either other herds, or they kind of kidnap the females and just sort of force them to stay with them. But whenever they add a new female onto their harem, the previous ones are not so happy about it. So there's this very strict hierarchy, and zebras are actually, like, for such beautiful animals, they're actually really grumpy things, I must say, and pretty violent. So the females generally tend to bully the newcomer, or female 1 and female 2 will then bully female number 3. And then one of the things that they do is, of course, they sort of bite their manes or bite their legs or just kick them, or don't give them the best access to rubbing posts and things like that. It is amazing to see how petty females in different species can be. I think this is one of the things that will never stop surprising me. No, that was a bit of a loner of a zebra. There was a male, could have also been a male that was fighting, and that he got his mane. I mean, I'm just making this soap opera story, but it's all a possibility, isn't it? Hey, bro, Owl, you were saying that the rollers are beautiful birds and that you love the tails? Absolutely. And I think a roller landing now at Aldonia would be something stunning. All that blue, in this muddy, dirty contrast. Oh, I think it would be very pretty. So this Ellie looks like he's almost got a bit of a sad face, doesn't he? All bullseye, they're so chilled and they're so relaxed. And how can I say it? Whenever they come to a waterhole, of course, like if there were other elephants, they might not be as happy or as calm, but it's almost like go into this zen state. And I could watch them forever. I really enjoy watching elephants, even if they're doing something simple as drinking. And I love the sound. So I'm going to be quiet because I think he's going to do it again, and then perhaps we can all hear the sound when he just puts all the water in his mouth. What are we looking at there? Don't know what happened there, but maybe there was a possibility of something. Don't you guys feel like zebra tails are braided? Kari, you said you were wondering if the one didn't have a mane. I'm not sure. I don't know if it did. It looked very odd, and that's why it stood out to me. So maybe it didn't, but I think it was a bit shy. It didn't want to be on camera. So I know a lot of you guys watch quite regularly, so maybe just keep an eye. There's a good chance if it's a zebra without a mane or something as distinctive as the lack of the mane, that we'll be able to see it once again. The good thing about zebras also, the stripes make them easy to identify, because every single zebra has a unique stripe pattern. Remember, I was doing not only zebras, other animals such as leopards and hyenas and striped hyenas. They all have individual patterns. Good. You're also saying that you haven't seen a zebra without a mane, which is very odd. I agree. I have seen them before, sort of with the mane just slumped down. And it's generally because they are in poor condition, but the zebra didn't seem like it was too stressed or anything. And it's because the fatty deposits, they have the fatty deposits on their necks. Sorry, I couldn't think of the word neck. And if they start losing condition, well, of course, the fat deposits are one of the first things that are sort of depleted, and then the mane tends to slump onto the one side. But there could have been a possibility, maybe just from, we were just looking at it from the wrong angle, but I don't know. Did anyone else see the zebra and thought that perhaps the zebra didn't have a mane? Or am I just going a little bit crazy imagining things? Tris, you're saying, are the gray go-away birds monogamous? No. As far as I don't know, the gray go-away birds are not monogamous. Generally, monogamy is for the eagles, because it takes a lot more commitment to raise a chick for them. So bigger birds tend to actually be monogamous, whereas the smaller, like the weavers and the gray go-away birds and the rollers, what they might do is they might, a lot of different species might have a pair for the season, or even hornbills, they'll pair for the season and then they'll have that particular mate so that they can raise their chicks. But some other bird species, for example, like the weavers, they'll just mate all the time with whomever and just sort of raise their chicks, and then as soon as that one is done or has grown and fledged, then they go on to the next one. So different strategies, mating strategies in line with what their parental behavior is like. If it takes a long time to raise your offspring, very likely they are monogamous pairs, because it takes a lot of commitment to make sure that that one offspring is raised to adulthood and then your genes get passed on to eternity. But if your chances of, if it's not that hard, let's put it that way, then you try and put as many out there as possible, because also many things are going to eat them. Oh, hello, Impala. Nice to see you. I saw a gazelle earlier, which looked like a Grant's gazelle, and I'm going to confess, I completely thought it was an impala. I just saw a big thing, and I was like, oh, look, it's an impala. And then I had another look, and I was like, no. Just goes to show how your brain will actively decide or discern. And like, you see impala all the time, this must be an impala. And then you look again, and you're like, oh, no, I was actually mistaken. Actually, it made me wonder, how many times did the early explorers assume something was something, or was a specific animal, and then it just turned out that wasn't the case at all. Sagat, you say that it looked like someone trimmed it. I would imagine you're referring to the zebra's mane, so yeah, could be. I don't know. I wish it could come back and we could see it. I don't, like, humans wouldn't really trim it, and no other animals will actively trim it. Like I said, I think it's either perhaps they recorded it in the wrong angle, if it was even, because it also could have been a visual effect, and I could have been mistaken. Maybe it just, the mane was flopped onto the other side away from us, or perhaps it has been pulled out because it had been bullied by other zebras. It can happen. Mr. Impala, why are you by yourself? Where's the rest of your group? Generally speaking, impala are not by themselves. You can find the males, especially during the breeding season, they become much less tolerant of other males, and then they don't really enjoy having all the testosterone around them. There's a lot of fighting just to make sure that they can stay with their females, but not generally too far from one another. Oh, there's another oryx walking at the back. Everything really is happening at Old Donya today. This elephant must have been really thirsty. He's been drinking for what, for the last 10 minutes or so? That's quite a long time. I think let's quickly go to Tau, because it seems like there are some interesting reptiles over there. Let's just have a look, and if they're not doing too much, then we'll come back to Old Donya. That's proven to be very, very, oh my goodness, very popular place. Look at all these fat crocodiles. That must be the life. And of course, the gray heron on the right-hand side. They look to be quite sizable 2 crocodiles. maybe the last couple of days have been really cold in general in South Africa. So there's been a dip in temperature, and I suppose this is why the crocodiles are actually out in the winter. They're just trying to warm themselves up, a bit of the sunlight to get their metabolism and all of their process going, because as you may know, they're considered what it's called cold-blooded, so they rely on atmospheric conditions or their environment to control their inner temperature. So I think this is what the guys are doing. It's not uncommon seeing them do this in other places. Like in the Kruger, they would also be doing that. Is there two or is there three? No, there's two. The one's just a big rock that looks like a crocodile's tail, but it actually isn't. And if you're wondering, the one good thing is the crocodiles that we see here would be the same ones that we could see if we were perhaps at Oldonium. Oh, hello, white whistling ducks. Then there's some stilts. There was a spoonbill. Seems like Tao and Madikwa is also quite busy. Oh, there's a game viewer. Look, there's humans. Oh, and there's elephants. That's what they are looking. That is interesting. Hehe. The vehicle reversing to give way to the elephants. Such an interesting contrast of all the green and then just everything else so bare. That's beautiful. I don't think these crocodiles are much. To be honest, today is a good day to be a crocodile. Just enjoy lying down in the sun for a little bit. Okay, the random impala, you're still by yourself. And the York's still there and the elephant's still drinking. I think this elephant came from quite a distance. It is not uncommon well, I'm saying uncommon, but it's normal for animals to have to walk long distances, particularly in the dry season. And we know at this stage it's also the dry season in East Africa. To walk very long distances to find water. So generally by shared memory or knowledge that is passed from generation to generation. In the case of elephants, they will learn where the water holes or the best potential sources of water are around the areas that they live in. And sometimes they will have to walk quite far to get to the water and then go all the way to where the food is and then come all the way back to the water. And look at all the starlings that are joining the party now. And also seems like some Cape turtle doves. And then of course there's the francolins in the background. That is quite soothing listening to all the animals. But yes, as I was saying, also the rainy season in East Africa should start in November, and it's referred to as the short rainy season, so November to December. And then everything else should be a little bit greener, the pans should be filling up, and the animals should be a little bit happier because there should be more food for all of them around. Bridget McKinney, you're wondering why is one lighter than the other? I suspect that maybe this was about the crocodiles, and I think that's just because one was muddier than the other one. We only really get one species of crocodile in East and Southern Africa, and it's the Nile crocodile. In East Africa, they also get massive, and they're the ones that you see in all those documentaries that Uti impala. And I mean, I think if they were greedy enough, they could also eat a lion or an elephant or a giraffe. Today is really Giraffe Day. Zygote, you're wondering if the crocs store energy from day and they use it at night. I'm not too sure what you mean by that, but no, it's just more they need to heat up the body to get their metabolism going. So I do not know if they store their energy. I've only know of certain antelope species that store heat, not energy, store heat and release it at night just to try and cope with extreme desert temperatures. But I don't know if maybe that was more what you were referring to. Anyway, it seems like we have reached the end of our journey together. It was a short but sweet afternoon with everyone. Very happy to have seen some familiar names, and I hope everybody enjoyed the ride. And also, please keep an eye for the zebra. It would be interesting to see if it comes around and find out what actually happened to it. But until then, see you guys on Thursday for another show.